All right, today we're going to talk about how to find vertical asymptotes and holes. So very similar. The process is going to be the same. So more factoring, more simplifying, reducing. What we're going to do is we're going to factor the top and factor the bottom. And so x squared minus 4, because that's a difference of two squares, I get x plus 2, x minus 2. And again, order doesn't matter. You can flip those. Divided by, I need two numbers that multiply to 6, that add to 5. So this would be x plus 3, x plus 2, and again, order doesn't matter. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 plus 2 is 5. Now, from here, we have two domain restrictions. So my two domain restrictions is that x cannot be equal to negative 3, right? If I set that equal to 0, subtract 3 from both sides, and x cannot be equal to negative 2. Now, how do I know the difference between a hole and a vertical asymptote? So remember, vertical up and down. Well, if a domain restriction is simplified out, or canceled out as most people like to say, but if these simplify, one top, one bottom, then that means that that restriction is called a hole. So this is called a hole. If in the very end, in your final solution, so in this case we have x minus 2 over x plus 3 as our final simplified answer, and your final solution still has that factor in it, this domain restriction then is what we call a vertical asymptote. So we have one hole and one vertical asymptote in this case. A hole occurs anytime our domain restriction, that factor, is simplified out, and a vertical asymptote occurs whenever that factor of that domain restriction is left over. So let's go ahead and take a look at number 2. Number 2, we just want to simplify this, see where any holes in vertical asymptotes are. In my numerator, I can factor this. I have a factor of x, so I have x minus 1 when I factor that out. In the denominator, two numbers that multiply to a negative 4, that add to a positive 3, that would be a positive 4 and a negative 1, so x plus 4, x minus 1. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, 4 minus 1 is positive 3. So what gets simplified out is going to give me a hole, meaning that when x cannot equal positive 1 because this is a hole, or I have a hole at x equals 1. However you want to look at it, x cannot be equal to 1 because we have a hole, or if you want to say we have a hole when x equals 1, that's fine. Take that factor that was simplified out, set that equal to 0, so x can't equal 1. Now I have this left over, so I have x over x plus 4. If I took that and set it equal to 0, then what's still left over is that x cannot be equal to a negative 4. Why? Because this is a vertical asymptote. Now, why is it a vertical asymptote? It's a vertical asymptote because it is the domain restriction after everything was simplified out. So whatever domain restriction is left, that is going to give you what's called a vertical asymptote. Pretty soon, we're going to talk about how to find a horizontal asymptote, but that'll be in the next video.